In the beginning of our parsha, we're told a very interesting story about Yaakov preparing to meet Esav. And there's a verse that Yaakov went across the river, and it says that Yivater Yaakov Levade, he was left on the other side of the river alone. Rashi brings the explanation in the Medrash that he went to get pachim ketanim, he went to get very small vessels that he had left on the other side of the river. Something seemingly unimportant. Another explanation of exactly the same story is that Yaakov, by virtue of V'yavater Yaakov Levadei, Yaakov is being compared to a Kadosh Baruch himself. Ki nizgav shmei Levadei. Yaakov is Levadei and a Kadosh Baruch is Levadei. That seeming contradiction is explained by the Rabbi in an absolutely fascinating way. Parshas Vayishlach often is in the week of, or falls out on the Shabbos of Yutes Kislev, the Rosh Hashanah of Chassidus, the holiday of the freedom of the Alter Rebbe, but that day which we relate to as the day that gave the world the most powerful gushpanka, the stamp of approval for the spreading of the wellsprings of Chassidus everywhere, of taking the deepest Torah in the world and revealing it everywhere. Relative to the need to reveal Chassidus at the time of the Alter Rebbe and the subsequent generations, including ours, there are two basic reasons given that seem very contrary. One is that the world was such a low state, and the Jews were in such a low state, that without the revelation of Chassidus, they would chas v'sholem not be able to make it in this world. Another explanation is that Torah Chassidus is the revelation of Torah HaMashiach. So in those years leading up to, right before the revelation of Mashiach, Erev Shabbos, which is our millennium, the 6th millennium, and specifically the day of the 6th millennium, the Baal Shem Tov was born in the year 5500, which is daybreak of the 6th day, because our day, of course, starts at night. So the first 500 years would be nighttime, Thursday night. Daybreak, Friday morning, Erev Shabbos is the birth of the Baal Shem Tov. The beginning of the light that is going to ultimately result in Shabbos. Torah Chassidus is the revelation of that Torah, the Torah that will be taught in the times of Mashiach. Two completely opposite understandings of why it is that Torah Chassidus came into the world. In terms of explaining in an amazing Sicha, I'm just going to deal with a very small part of it. The Rabbi explains how Torah Chassidus is that which brings about the synthesis of transcendent and immanent reality in many, many different realms, and brings about the unity of different aspects of reality. In Torah, Nigla and Chassidus, Nigla and Nister, the revealed Torah and the hidden Torah. In the world, notion of understanding the reality of a nes, of a miracle. In the relationship of the Rav to the Talmud, the Rebbe to the Chassid, that they're no longer two separate entities, they're one. But what I'd like to focus on is the part of the Sicha where the Rebbe talks about Torah Chassidus and its role in bringing about a unity of the neshama and the guf, of the soul and the body. The Jewish soul, its birthright is emunah, faith. Faith is a power of the soul. Emunah is a power of the soul. It's not something that a Jew has to acquire. It's something that a Jew has by virtue of the fact that they have a Jewish soul. But that aspect of the soul is the loftiest, most transcendent aspect of the soul, called Yechidah Shebenefesh. My job in this world is to try to connect to that part of me. How can I possibly do that? Because I'm down here and that, so to speak, is up there. Chabad Chassidus is often misconstrued as intellectual, and Chabad is all about intellect. Nothing's farther from the truth. The words Chabad, of course, is an acronym for Chochmah Bina Das, three different aspects of intellect. But Chabad Chassidus is all about emunah. It's simply the derech, the way in which we bring about a revelation of this lofty level of emunah, this lofty level of soul in our conscious reality. What's the gateway into conscious me? My intellect. Therefore, if I use my intellect to try to understand godliness, I'll tap into the deepest part of my soul, Yechidah Shebenefesh, the essence of my soul. And I'll bring that essence down into my conscious reality. And that's the notion of Chabad Chassidus. It's not about intellect at all. It's about emunah. I use intellect in order to tap into that emunah and bring that emunah into my conscious reality. So I bring about a synthesis in my own life between a higher level and a lower level. And that's the power of Taras Chassidus. Hafatzas hamayonis, the spreading of the well springs outward, doesn't simply mean that something said will affect the lower realm. It means that the well springs themselves go chutza, go into the most external realm. They're found there, and they elevate it and illuminate it. Chassidus is that which allows you and I to bring the deepest aspects of godly reality into our consciousness so that that becomes part of our consciousness and part of our everyday reality. And that, the Rabbi says, is the connection between Yutes Kislev and the Pachim Ketanim of Yaakov. That interesting verse, V'yivater Yaakov Levadei. The verse on one hand talks about a very lowly involvement of Yaakov with a few small vessels. On the other hand, somehow Yaakov is likened unto a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Chassidus teaches us very, very clearly. Where is it that you and I touch the loftiest levels of godly reality? Dafka in the mundane, in the context of the physical world. This physical world is often called a desert. That's true, a place of hiddenness. But interestingly enough, the mimer that our Rebbe said to us more often than any other mimer, over 40 times, is a mimer called Basi Lagani. Basi Lagani, I've come to my garden. What's that garden? This world. With the eyes of Chassidus, this world is a garden. And every aspect of it is an expression of very powerful godly reality, and I can find that godly reality in the world by virtue of allowing the light of Chassidus to illuminate the world, to illuminate first my conscious reality, and then my conscious reality's relationship to the world. So on one hand, Yaakov is dealing with mundane reality, Pachim Ktanim, small bottles that he left on the other side. But it's that exactly which allows Yaakov to be connected to Ki Nizgav Shmei Levadai, the oneness of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And it's Chassidus that illuminates that in the clearest, most obvious way, and ultimately allows us to bring about the whole purpose of creation. Because Hafatzas HaMayonis is that which is necessary. Spreading the well springs is the answer to the question when the Baal Shem Tov asked Mashiach, when are you coming? When your well springs spread outward, when Chassidus reaches everywhere in the world. Because Chassidus is the power that allows the lower realms to be the gan, the garden, to reveal the highest level of godly reality. May we see that happen speedily in our days. As we say on Yutes Kislev, Good Yom Tov, L'Shana Teva, Tikosa V'Sechem, Limer Chassidus, B'darkei Chassidus.